Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty, and this is a video I'm recording on an actual morning rather than at night before going home. Simply because when I first read this comic book, I was struggling with how I was going to present my thoughts on it. A lot of it because it kind of just disappeared out of my head. There's some stuff that just doesn't seem relevant, and I was trying to figure out how I could talk about it in a way which would be useful rather than just either complaining or giving unnecessary, unearned praise. The comic book in question is the new Superboy, which I've been looking forward to. I've been thoroughly enjoying the Son of Kal-El stuff, the John L. It's just the ongoing that Tom Taylor did. It's absolutely fantastic. And it kind of reinvigorated my love for Superman or Superman Universe kind of stuff. Tom King did a really good one a while ago. Bendis was good. He did some interesting things, but it's been a while since I really got into Superman stuff until the Superboy thing, or Son of Kal-El, should I say. So I was kind of hoping this would be great too. I have fond memories of Connor. Yes, he's a 90s character and I'm of a certain age, but it was more just, I thought he was an interesting kind of take on a super person kind of character. And sad to say, I was a little bit disappointed by the end of it. It's not 100%, but this is not a glowing review. I'm not going to be telling you how amazing you should go and get it. There's some stuff I did like. Dialogue and characterization through dialogue was really quite cool. Porter obviously has a good idea about who these characters are and how they would interact with the world. And there's really nice artwork as well that adds to that. Action sequences are full and vibrant. The coloring is great. But the big issue is just the arc of the story, really, because we're dealing with a character who has effectively, literally been written out of continuity, and when Bendis did his Young Justice run, brought him back, and I thought that was a really cool thing. It was handled quite nicely. It didn't feel like just correcting a mistake. It felt like there was a genuine reason within the universe for him to come back, but it has put him in a position where he doesn't feel like he has a place anymore. There is another Superboy who's actually Superman's real kid, not just a clone of him and Lex Luthor. But very quickly I realized that his problem is almost self-created, like he wants to feel like an outsider, because there would still be space in a Young Justice-style team that needed a Superboy, because John L. is not a boy anymore. He is a grown-ass man doing his own thing. And yes, there are other superheroes, super people, heroes around, but there always have been, and the idea that the world wouldn't need him or he couldn't find a place for it did feel like it was just trying really hard to put him in a position where he had to go and do something else, which he does. He goes and finds this far-flung bit of the galaxy and goes and tries to solve some problems there. He does this by using a teleportation device, which is a malfunctioning teleportation device, and they make sure you know it's a malfunctioning teleportation device. This is not subtle foreshadowing. Now, we don't get a payoff from that in this issue, but by the time we get to the end of the issue, you just know that that is almost certainly going to be a thing later on. I am going to talk about the plot a little bit here because it's relevant to discussing how this story doesn't work for me. Because once he gets to this place, there is an organization who has been basically genetically creating super villains, or superpowered people at least, and using them to control planets. Now, this means when you doing any kind of thing like this, you're talking state control power and capitalism taking over places, using power. Yes, fine, this is a bad thing, it should be stopped, but it never really embraces that story side of it at all. It is just more lines of supervillains bad. Like, there's no depth to this bit that I can see. And also, there's three of them against Connor, and it takes him a while to get like the civilian safe, which I appreciate, and he uses his unique superpowers that he has that the other super team don't have. And he's doing a pretty good job of dealing with these three people. Never kills him because he's a good guy, he's a hero. But then, like 100 others turn up. And it wasn't like dealing with these three was easy. He did get beaten quite badly before he managed to get rid of them. And canonically, within the story, very much within the verisimilitude of what they're saying, he is absolutely getting his butt kicked by these 100 supervillains. Like, really, he is struggling. At a certain point, you realise he is not going to win. But then, oh look, 3 other random superpowered people turn up and murder these 100 people. Now, I get that there's a certain part of it where it's like, yes, John Kent probably, Connor Kent, could actually be strong enough to deal with them if he was willing to let go of his morals. This is a story that's been touched on repeatedly. There's the introduction of Manchester Black was kind of part and parcel of that. But it never felt like that for this one. It generally felt like he wasn't going to be able to win, but then these 3 turn up and they're happy to kill people and they're happy to kill him. And this leads me to the really big point that I don't like, because at the end of issue 1, my thought was, well, he's got this teleportation device. And obviously that is going to be the solution, and it's going to send him somewhere else, and it's going to be entertaining and trying to get back. But there's 2 problems with that. Number 1, it doesn't solve the issue. there's still these hundreds of supervillains, or the person who created these hundreds of supervillains, and there's still the 3 people who are powerful enough to murder them all and have no problem doing murders. He's just leaving that behind. Or they are going to follow him and keep hounding him, and they're going to have to Deus Ex the hell out of the ending to make sense, because within the confines of the story structure and the logic, he is not good enough. Yes, there is a super family who can turn up, but the entire point of it was he was finding his own way. Yes, there is an argument to be made that his point is part of the Superman family. I kind of get that, but I feel like it's selling the character and selling the story short, and I can't help but feel that it's going to be disappointing pretty much no matter what they do, because they set the stakes too high too early, and the only ways out are going to either be a failure to deal with a problem or a Deus Ex, and none of those are good writing, I'm afraid. That's it for me for now, though. I will review other things, and hopefully I'll have a better time with them. Until I see you again, though, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!